Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS, FANS. Let's get to the news all right, so here's the scoop that's got everyone in the Falcons community buzzing. Word from sources close to ESPN's Adam Schefter suggests that the Minnesota Vikings, who are currently sitting at 6-8 with an offense that's struggling to find its rhythm, and giving up an average of 22 points per game so far in 2025, are planning a major shakeup. And yes, that shakeup involves none other than Justin Jefferson, one of the most electrifying wide receivers in the league. The Vikings are reportedly considering trading Jefferson to Atlanta in exchange for 2 first-round picks. That's a bold move, but it makes a lot of sense when you look at what the Vikings are trying to do: rebuild, reset, and focus on their future. Now, this potential trade could be a game-changer for the Falcons, especially on offense. Jefferson, a wide receiver whose speed is lightning fast and cuts through defenders like a hot knife through butter, has been putting up explosive stats this season. We're talking about a guy who in 2025 has already recorded 90 receptions for 350 yards and 11 touchdowns. His average yards per reception, a solid 15.0. That's the kind of production that can completely transform an offense, especially one that's been struggling to find consistency. And even with a slight injury, he was sidelined for 2 games after suffering a sprained ankle in Week 4. Jefferson continues to be a game winner when healthy. His yards after catch, YAC, average is 6.5, which puts him among the league's best. The numbers tell a story. A top-tier receiver who can change games with big plays, averaging over 20 yards per reception in 35% of his targets, and a contested catch rate of 61%. That's the kind of receiver who can turn a third and long into a long touchdown, creating mismatches all across the field. But of course, the Vikings aren't sold on this idea. They're cautious, and for good reasons. Their odds for winning Super Bowl LXI are listed at plus 10-0, which shows they're not exactly in win-now mode. They're prioritizing draft picks to bolster their offensive line and focus on developing younger players, especially after the struggles of the past season and the injuries to their young cornerback Dantzler. The team sees Jefferson's hefty $33 million cap hit as a burden in a division that includes the Bears, who are also rebuilding, and they're looking to free up cap space to speed up their rebuild. Their eyes are on the future, and they're willing to part ways with their star receiver if it means getting multiple high picks and reshaping the roster. Now, for the Falcons, this is a tantalizing proposition. They currently sit at 5-9, and their passing game has been a bit of a letdown this season. Kyle Pitts has shown flashes, but the offense as a whole has lacked explosiveness. Drake London, who's been limited by knee issues recently, is still a threat, but adding Jefferson would be a huge boost. Imagine a receiving core featuring Jefferson, London, and Bijan Robinson. That's a nightmare for defenses. A player like Jefferson would instantly elevate the Atlanta offense, creating mismatches that defenses simply can't handle. His ability to stretch the field and make contested catches would open up the entire passing game, and that's exactly what the Falcons need to take their offense to the next level. The projections are eye-opening. If Jefferson arrives in Atlanta, it's expected that his reception total could jump to over 450 yards, pushing the Falcons' EPA per pass from a modest plus 0.13 to a more aggressive plus 0.36. That's a massive upgrade and would give quarterback Desmond Ridder a serious weapon. His deep ball accuracy and timing would be tested and improved, especially with a receiver like Jefferson who can win jump balls and get open downfield. The impact on the offense would be immediate. Jefferson's route running, combined with his speed and hands, would make him a nightmare for defenses. And with defenses forced to respect Jefferson's deep threat, London and other receivers would benefit, leading to more red zone opportunities and more touchdowns. From a strategic standpoint, this move would also diversify the Falcons' offense. Currently, they rely heavily on their rushing attack with Bijan Robinson, who's been phenomenal this season with over 100 rushing yards. But adding Jefferson would open up the passing game and give defenses a different look, especially on third down and in critical moments. His presence on the field would reduce the number of three-and-outs, leading to longer drives and more scoring chances. The math here is simple. Jefferson's addition could reduce the Falcons' three-and-outs by around 23%, which means more sustained drives, more points, and a real shot at sneaking into the playoffs. Now let's talk about the playoff implications. The Falcons' Super Bowl odds currently sit around plus 15-0, not great, but with a move like this, they could see a dramatic shift. If Jefferson were added, the Falcons could see their odds improve to roughly plus 500, a huge bump that makes them serious contenders. Imagine a playoff matchup where Atlanta faces the Saints secondary, which has been giving up about 240 passing yards per game. With Jefferson in the fold, the Falcons could exploit that weakness, increasing their chances of winning critical playoff games. Simulations and statistical models suggest that with Jefferson, the Falcons' chances of winning aerial duels increase by about 20%, giving them a real shot at making noise in the postseason. Looking back at the history of trades like this, it's reminiscent of when the Bengals acquired Chase in 2021, boosting their aerial game significantly, or when the Rams traded for Odell Beckham Jr. In 2022, big splash moves that shifted the balance of power. For the Falcons, this isn't just about adding a star. It's about transforming the entire offense into a dynamic, explosive unit that can compete with anyone in the league. The coaching staff and front office are undoubtedly weighing the risks and rewards, but if the trade goes through, it could be one of the most impactful moves in recent Falcons history. The potential pairing of Jefferson with Ritter and the current roster could set the Falcons up for a long-term offensive powerhouse. This move would send a message to the NFC South and the rest of the league that Atlanta is serious about competing at the highest level. It's about building a balanced attack that can beat teams both on the ground and through the air, and Jefferson's addition would be a huge step in that direction. It's rare to find a player who can instantly elevate your offense and change the complexion of your team, but if this trade happens, Falcons fans will be witnessing just that. The division might never be the same, and the Falcons could suddenly find themselves in the mix for a deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and whatever happens, you can count on us to bring you the most detailed, passionate coverage of your team. Let's go Falcons!